So this is a wild garlic flower that is just coming out. This is the first one that I have seen so far this year down here in Devon. Welcome to this week's how-to. We are down in Devon and there is an abundance of wild garlic, which makes me very, very excited. So I have just been out for a forage for it, and I thought I would share with you how to make wild garlic pesto, and we just talk through wild garlic. So this is what the leaves look like. That's quite a big one, and they vary from about 45 centimetres to 50 centimetres in height. But this is what you're looking for. The smell is quite distinctive. It has a garlicky smell to it. They are part of the allium family, and I've also shared with you what the flower looks like. There is only one flower and I didn't want to pick it, so I will insert a picture of what it looks like. But they are just wonderful and I love foraging. I get so excited, and that's what's so lovely about being down here, is I can literally just walk out of the kitchen and forage for wild garlic. Wild garlic leaves are ready to pick from the end of winter through until the end of spring. So from sort of late February, early March through until about the end of June, you will then see an abundance of the white flowers, which really looks like an allium. So it's then when the flowers come into bloom, far more obvious. But this is still quite early, and I also find down in Devon it's a little bit behind things that are happening in Sussex. So, you know, things happen slightly later, the flowers come into bloom and things like that, slightly later down here. And obviously it's dependent completely on the weather. Now, wild garlic is also known as various other things. It can be called wood garlic, buckram, ransom. So you may hear those names occasionally from time to time, but I think it's most commonly known as wild garlic. You are likely to find it in shady areas, damp ground, alongside a river or a lake or something like that. And when you are foraging, first thing is you've got to have permission from the landowner. So that's really, really important. And also forage mindfully. Don't pick too much from one area. Pick a few leaves from here, pick a few leaves from there. Don't take masses, don't be greedy. A small amount actually goes a really, really long way. So be, really mindful when you're foraging, and pick carefully and make sure you have permission first. So I've just given this all a good wash. And again, it's really important that you wash things that you're going to be using to cook with. You know, dog may have peed or whatever. So make sure that it has a really, really thorough wash before you start cooking. And I'm just going to share with you a simple pesto, but wild garlic is great in soups, risottos, salads. You could just put a few of these leaves in a sandwich. You can use it in so many different ways. I love making wild garlic butter. I shared an Instagram video of how I make wild garlic butter. It's so simple. I literally just soften some salted butter, chop finely some wild garlic leaves, mix them through the butter, roll it up, and then you can freeze it, and then you can slice it off, and that wild garlic butter over a steak, a roast chicken. There's so many different ways of using it. So I make a few rolls of wild garlic butter each year to keep and use. And that freezes really well. Wild garlic pesto, which is what I'm going to share with you to make how to make now. Again, that freezes really well too. You can pop it into maybe ice cube tray, and when it's frozen, just pop them out and store them in a Tupperware or a freeze bag, something like that. Pesto, wild garlic pesto, will keep in the fridge for a couple of weeks as well, so you know you can store it that way. Anyway, I think enough chatting. Let's get going. I've got some Parmesan, which I am just going to grate a decent amount, a good handful. When I am cooking like this, I just go by eye, but I will leave measurements and the recipe linked down below and on my website, so you can have a look there for this recipe. So we'll just grate some Parmesan. I'm going to roughly tear the leaves just so they're a little bit smaller, or you could cut them, but I just think it's easier if they are broken up a little bit before we get going with our pesto. So just rip them up. I've been using wild garlic so much while we've been down here. I have added it into salads, sandwiches. I made bolognese the other day. I added wild garlic in because actually I didn't have any other garlic. I'm not adding any garlic cloves into this because I think you don't need it too overpowering. Trust me, the wild garlic leaves are enough. Some people add it in, but I think personally it's overkill. The smell is honestly incredible. It's so phenomenal. I love it. I'll just rip those up a bit more. And stalks and all for this. Right, let's add in that Parmesan. Now I don't have a zester here, which is a little frustrating, so I'm just going to try and zest a little bit of lemon on here. I don't know if I'm going to get it. No, it's not really doing so. I tell you what I'm going to do. I'm going to use a knife and just very carefully, in fact I'm not sure this knife is quite sharp enough, just take off a little bit of the zest, not getting any pith, if we can avoid it. This knife's really blunt. I'm a little bit limited down here in the kitchen department. I find, because we do holiday lets in the house, things disappear and they're not quite looked after in the way I would like. But anyhow, just roughly, let's move that out the way, that out the way. Lemon works really well with wild garlic, so we'll just really roughly chop this because we are going to blitz it in a minute. I would say the zest of half a lemon. And in that goes two. Really fresh and delicious. I think there's nothing more exciting than being able to forage for your food. Now, some sea salt, a couple of pinches of sea salt in there, some black pepper, and then I've got some pine nuts, which I'm going to add in. Walnuts work really well with wild garlic pesto, or some toasted hazelnuts, but personally I love it with just pine nuts. And I'm going to add in a good glug of olive oil, probably about 3 tablespoons. And make sure it's extra virgin olive oil. It's a big difference. And then I'm going to go in with my stick blender. I'm just going to stand up to do this. Now, I don't have a big enough jug here, so we're using it in a bowl. And there we are, our wild garlic pesto is done. So simple, so easy, so delicious, and really, really good for you as well. Delicious served over some pasta with some spaghetti, a little bit more parmesan over the top. Really, really lovely, simple lunch. I also think the wild garlic works really well with lamb, so you could use a sort of wild garlic marinade to cook your lamb, or you could use this as a dressing to serve over a salad. Just add a little bit more olive oil and drizzle it over. It would also work really well with fish as well. So there's so many different options, and I hope that this has inspired you to get outside and have a look and see if you can find some wild garlic and create some really delicious things with it. Oh, I cannot wait to enjoy this. We're going to have it with some pasta later when everybody is back. They're currently at the beach, and yes, so delicious, so fresh, and really, really healthy. Thank you so much for watching this week's how-to, and I will see you on Friday with my vlog. In the meantime, I'm sending lots of love, and if you're new to my channel, please do hit the subscribe button, ring the bell to be notified of my videos, and thank you.